Ethan adjusted the strap of his backpack as he walked through the bustling space station. Lights of every color reflected off the polished floors, and alien merchants shouted from their stalls, displaying goods that no human had ever seen. The smells were strange but not unpleasant, a mixture of spices, energy drinks, and ozone from the station's power core. He had been visiting many worlds in his years as an explorer, but this station, called Aurora Nexus, was unlike anything he had experienced. He had come here to gather information about the local species and technology, expecting a routine trip. What he had not expected, however, was the social event tonight, an interspecies gathering meant to celebrate new trade agreements. Humans were rare guests here, and he knew the other visitors would be curious. Ethan adjusted his collar nervously as he stepped into the main hall. The room was enormous, filled with glowing pillars and floating platforms. Beings of every shape and size moved around, some hovering, some crawling, and some with transparent skin that revealed their inner workings. Despite the alien nature of the crowd, Ethan felt a spark of excitement. He liked meeting new people, especially when they came from worlds he had never imagined. He found a corner near a refreshment stand, hoping to blend in while observing the crowd. That's when he first saw them, twin sisters identical in appearance, gliding gracefully across the floor. Their skin was a soft lavender and their eyes shone like polished crystals. They moved as one, perfectly synchronized, yet their personalities seemed to radiate in different ways. The taller one, Lyra, had a mischievous glint in her eyes, while the other, Leora, appeared calm and calculating. As Ethan watched, he couldn't help but feel drawn to them. There was something magnetic about the sisters, something beyond their beauty or alien features. He decided to introduce himself, stepping forward with a casual smile. "Hello," he said. "I'm Ethan, a human traveler. I hope I'm not intruding." Lyra's lips curved into a sly smile. "A human, yes? We have heard about your kind. Bold, curious, amusing." Leora inclined her head slightly, her gaze steady and unreadable. "Your species tends to underestimate themselves, yet you survive in places far beyond your comfort." "That is interesting." Ethan laughed nervously. "Well, I do what I can. I joke about being brave sometimes, but mostly I just try to stay out of trouble." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "A joke, you say? Humor is rare in these halls." "It is refreshing." Leora's expression softened. "Indeed, many beings take themselves too seriously. You are different." Before Ethan could respond, a nearby alien approached, bowing with respect to the twins. They exchanged words in a language he did not understand, speaking so quickly that he could barely follow. Yet from their gestures and expressions, Ethan could tell the sisters were discussing him. "Do you always attract attention this easily?" Ethan asked, a bit embarrassed. Lyra chuckled. "Only those worth noticing. You intrigue us, human." Ethan raised his hands in surrender, laughing. "I think I'm going to regret saying I was single tonight." The twins exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Then Lyra leaned slightly closer. "Single, you say? How curious. Perhaps it is time you are no longer alone." Leora's gaze was gentle but firm. "We have our reasons for taking interest in you. It is not merely amusement, human. You have qualities that deserve attention." Ethan swallowed, unsure how to respond. I didn't mean to." Lyra waved a hand dismissively. "Relax, we mean no harm. Yet, your statement has consequences, whether you understand them or not." At that moment, a loud alarm echoed through the hall. Red lights flashed along the walls. The crowd murmured, some panicking, some remaining calm. Ethan instinctively reached for his backpack, checking the equipment he always carried. Lyra and Leora did not seem concerned. They moved gracefully through the crowd, their presence commanding attention. Yet they stayed close to him, almost as if protecting him from the chaos. "What's happening?" Ethan asked, his voice rising slightly over the din. "A minor disruption," Lyra said. "Nothing beyond your capacity, human. Stay with us." Ethan nodded, unsure why he agreed, but he found comfort in their confidence. Together, the three of them navigated through the crowd, avoiding a small group of panicked beings rushing toward the exit. As they moved, Ethan noticed subtle ways the sisters influenced the environment. Lyra seemed to bend light slightly, creating illusions that diverted attention, while Leora gave him a look that made him instinctively understand which paths were safe. Once they reached a quieter section of the station, Ethan let out a sigh of relief. "Okay, I think we're safe here." Lyra tilted her head. Safe and for now. But human, you must understand. We are not merely observers of your kind. We are involved in matters that you may not yet comprehend. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Involved? How? Leora's eyes met his. We monitor and interact with beings who show potential. You have shown more than potential, Ethan. You have courage, wit, and adaptability, qualities that are rare and valuable. Ethan felt a mix of pride and anxiety. I'm just a traveler. I don't usually... You underestimate yourself, Leora said softly. Humans do that often, yet here you are, navigating a station filled with species that would overwhelm most of your kind. You handle it well. That is why we are interested. Ethan laughed, nervously scratching the back of his neck. I guess I can't get away from you, can I? Lyra smiled broadly. No, not yet. And perhaps you should not try. Curiosity and companionship. These are gifts. You may learn much if you accept them. Despite his misgivings, Ethan felt a strange comfort being with the sisters. He had traveled to many worlds, seen countless wonders, and faced dangers most humans would never imagine. But there was something different here. Something that felt like the start of an adventure unlike any other. For the rest of the evening, they wandered the station together. Lyra led him through exotic marketplaces where traders sold glowing crystals, levitating instruments, and food that changed colors as it cooked. Leora guided him past complex security measures and helped him understand alien etiquette, explaining subtle customs that could offend if ignored. At one point, Ethan paused to watch a group of performers manipulating energy fields in intricate patterns. Lyra noticed his fascination and smiled. You are drawn to complexity, human. That is why you survive. You observe, adapt, and act, Leora added. And you do not rely solely on strength. You use your mind. That is rare in your species. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. For so long, humans had been underestimated in the galaxy. He had always felt proud of his kind, but hearing it from beings as advanced and different as these twins was powerful. By the time they returned to a quieter observation deck, the station's main events were winding down. Ethan leaned against the railing, looking out at the stars beyond the massive glass walls. He felt small compared to the vastness of space, yet strangely significant knowing that he was being recognized for qualities that mattered. Lyra and Leora joined him silently. Lyra's voice broke the quiet first. Do you understand, human? Your life has changed. A single joke. And you are now part of something greater, something we hope you will embrace. Ethan chuckled nervously. I think I understand. But this is all so sudden. I barely know you, and yet... You know enough, Leora said softly. Enough to see that humans, when they choose, can influence far more than they imagine. We are offering you companionship, guidance, and challenge. You may accept it or decline, but the choice will matter. Ethan looked at them, unsure how to feel. He was a traveler, a lone human exploring the stars. Yet in the eyes of these twin alien sisters he saw admiration, curiosity, and something deeper. A spark of recognition that humans were capable of more than the galaxy gave them credit for. He smiled, a mixture of apprehension and excitement. Well, I guess I'll take my chances. Lead the way. Lyra's grin widened, mischievous and approving. Leora's eyes glimmered with quiet satisfaction. Together, the three of them turned toward the unknown corridors of the station, ready to face whatever adventures awaited them. For Ethan, the night was only beginning. The twin alien sisters had chosen him, not just for amusement, but because they saw something extraordinary in a human. And in that moment he realized that the galaxy was far bigger, far stranger, and far more exciting than he had ever imagined. Ethan woke the next morning in his small rented cabin on the Aurora Nexus station. The stars outside glimmered through the wide observation window, casting a soft glow over the room. He rubbed his eyes, still processing the events of the previous night. Meeting the twin sisters Lyra and Leora had been surreal. He had laughed, joked, and thought he was simply entertaining them. But now he realized their interest in him was far more serious. He heard a soft knock at the door. "Ethan, are you awake?" Lyra's voice floated through the airlock, melodic and playful. "I'm awake," Ethan called. "Come in." The door hissed open and Lyra stepped in, her long lavender hair flowing behind her. Leora followed quietly, her calm presence a stark contrast to her sister's energy. Ethan noticed how synchronized they moved. Yet there was always a subtle difference, a glance, a gesture that distinguished one from the other. "We thought you might want company for breakfast," Leora said gently. "There is a cafe nearby with interesting dishes. Foods from across multiple worlds," Ethan nodded. "Sounds good. Lead the way." As they walked through the station corridors, Ethan noticed more of the station's wonders. The hallways shifted in gentle curves, lights floating in midair to illuminate the path. Alien species passed by, some curious about the human walking with the twin sisters, others simply indifferent. Ethan felt eyes on him constantly, though he didn't know why. "So," Lyra said, grinning, "you joked about being single last night. Do humans always do that?" Ethan chuckled nervously. "I guess sometimes. Mostly it's just a way to get laughs. I didn't expect it to matter." "It matters," Leora said softly. "Humor is a sign of intelligence. You displayed confidence and wit. These are qualities that attract attention in our society. You cannot ignore them." Ethan laughed awkwardly. "I think I might need a guide to understand alien social rules." Lyra's eyes twinkled. "You have one. That's why we are here. To guide you, protect you, and perhaps challenge you." They reached the cafe, a space filled with floating tables and chairs, some shaped like plants, others like geometric objects. Waiters hovered, carrying trays with drinks that shimmered in shifting colors. Ethan sat down and the sisters ordered for him, an assortment of colorful foods he had never seen before. "You will try everything," Lyra said with a wink. "It is part of your experience." Ethan hesitated, then took a small bite. The flavor exploded in his mouth, sweet, savory, slightly spicy, and oddly satisfying. Leora watched him carefully, noting his reaction. "You handle new things well," she said. "Adaptability is key to survival, human." "You already show it in small ways," Ethan smiled. "I guess I'm lucky. Or maybe stubborn. I don't like being unprepared." Lyra leaned closer. "Stubbornness and courage often go hand in hand. We can work with that." After breakfast, the sisters suggested a tour of the station's lower levels, a place where fewer beings went. Ethan hesitated. "Lower levels? Sounds dangerous," Leora's voice was calm. "Safe if you follow instructions. You need to see more than the surface. Understanding the station means understanding its risks." Ethan nodded reluctantly. "All right. I trust you." As they descended through the twisting corridors and spiraling lifts, Ethan noticed subtle changes in the air. The lighting dimmed and the hum of machinery grew louder. Shadows danced along the walls and the occasional flicker of a light made him pause. He felt a slight thrill in his chest. The same feeling he had felt during dangerous missions on other worlds, Lyra noticed. "Good. Your instincts are sharp. Many humans panic here. You remain aware. That is impressive." Ethan glanced at her. "Thanks, I think." They reached a wide platform overlooking a network of pipes, conduits, and maintenance paths. Leora gestured toward the maze below. "This is where most visitors never go. The station's backbone. Understanding it is part of your education here." Ethan looked down, feeling both awed and nervous. The lower levels were like a city of machines, moving and humming with life. He could see workers, both human and alien, tending to the systems. It was chaotic, yet orderly in a way he found fascinating. Lyra clapped her hands together. "Let's make this interesting. A small challenge for you. You must retrieve a device from the far end of this level. Simple in theory. But you will need focus, observation, and courage." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "A challenge? I didn't sign up for obstacle courses." "It is not a game," Leora said softly. "It is a measure of your abilities. How you react under pressure, how you think and act." Ethan sighed, realizing there was no turning back. "All right. Let's do it." The sisters guided him through the corridors, pointing out potential hazards, energy conduits that could arc without warning, platforms that swayed with gravity shifts, and machinery that moved unpredictably. Ethan followed their instructions carefully, relying on their guidance but also trusting his instincts. Halfway through, a small system malfunction caused a section of the floor to retract unexpectedly. Ethan froze for a split second, then leapt to a nearby platform, landing safely. Lyra's eyes sparkled. "Excellent. That is quick thinking. You remain calm under danger. Few humans would manage that." Leora's voice echoed softly in his mind. "Your perception is sharp. You see patterns others miss. That is why we are interested in you." Ethan felt a mix of pride and surprise. He had never been praised like this before, especially by being so advanced and alien. He continued, moving carefully. trusting the sister's guidance and his own instincts. Finally, they reached the device, a small, glowing orb that controlled environmental systems in the lower levels. Ethan picked it up, feeling its energy hum in his hands. Suddenly, an alarm blared. A maintenance drone malfunctioned, charging toward him with sparks flying. Ethan's heart raced. He remembered Leora's advice about focus and observation. He scanned the corridor quickly and spotted an emergency override panel. Using his human ingenuity, he pressed a sequence of buttons that disabled the drone just in time. The orb's glow intensified, indicating the task was complete. Lyra clapped her hands, laughing. "Bravo, human! You handled that perfectly." Leora's calm smile showed genuine approval. "You have shown resourcefulness, courage, and intelligence. All qualities that make you remarkable." Ethan exhaled, his hands still shaking slightly. I didn't know I could do that. I thought I'd just fail." Lyra grinned. "You did not fail. That is the difference between humans and many other beings. You adapt. You think, you act. That is why we are fascinated by you." Ethan felt a warmth he had never experienced before. Humans were often underestimated in the galaxy, seen as fragile or limited. Yet here were these alien sisters, seeing his potential and valuing it. As they returned to the upper levels, Ethan noticed a change in the sisters. Lyra was playful but also proud, while Leora seemed quietly satisfied, as if confirming something she had suspected all along. "You have passed your first test," Leora said softly. "It is not the last. Challenges will continue, but you now see why your qualities matter." Ethan laughed nervously. "I guess I'm officially involved now. I can't just joke my way out." Lyra tilted her head, teasing. "You may have tried before, but now, there is no escaping your fate. You have drawn attention. You have been seen." Ethan shook his head, half amused, half overwhelmed. "I feel like I'm in over my head." Leora placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You are not alone, human. We will guide you, yet you must also trust yourself. That is what will make you strong." Ethan smiled, feeling a strange mix of fear and excitement. He had never imagined that a simple joke about being single could lead to this. Adventures, challenges, and a bond with two alien sisters who saw value in a human in ways most of the galaxy did not. As the station lights reflected off the polished corridors, Ethan realized he was no longer just a visitor. He was part of something larger, something that tested his abilities and rewarded his courage. And for the first time in a long time, he felt like he truly belonged somewhere. The twin sisters flanked him on either side as they walked through the station, their presence both comforting and thrilling. Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and dangers, and he was ready to face them. Not alone, but with Lyra and Leora by his side. The adventure had truly begun. The next day, Ethan found himself standing at the edge of the station's docking bay. Massive ships of all shapes and sizes rested in their berths, engines humming softly, ready for their next journey. He had been invited, or perhaps challenged, by Lyra and Leora to join them on a reconnaissance mission outside the station. Ethan adjusted his gear nervously. "Reconnaissance mission? I thought we were just exploring the station." Lyra tilted her head, grinning. "Exploration is only the beginning. Observation and action are next. You must see how humans perform beyond safe corridors." Leora's voice was calm, yet carried weight. "We monitor sectors outside the station that often face instability. It is a small mission. You will learn quickly, human, and we will guide you." Ethan glanced at the ships around him, feeling a mixture of awe and apprehension. They were sleek, streamlined for speed, yet heavily armored for combat. He had piloted ships before, but nothing on this scale. The sisters led him to a smaller craft, designed for rapid travel through asteroid fields and unstable zones. The interior was compact, with holographic panels displaying the surrounding space. Ethan ran his fingers over the controls, feeling a thrill as the systems responded instantly. Lyra leaned closer, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Do not worry. We do not expect perfection, but we do expect initiative." Ethan nodded, swallowing his nerves. "I'll do my best." They lifted off smoothly, leaving the station behind. The vast expanse of space stretched before them, stars twinkling like distant diamonds. Ethan marveled at the view, but his attention was pulled to the sisters. They sat with quiet confidence, Lyra monitoring external sensors while Leora watched Ethan, observing his reactions. After a few minutes, Lyra spoke. Ahead lies a minor anomaly. We need to investigate. Human. We will rely on your judgment. Ethan focused on the approaching area, noting floating debris and irregular energy patterns. Looks like an asteroid field with some energy fluctuations. Should we go through it or around? Lyra's gaze met his. Through it. Observation requires risk. You must assess and act. That is how humans prove their capability. Ethan swallowed hard. His hands gripped the controls tightly as he steered the craft into the field. Rocks and debris shifted in unpredictable patterns, and the energy fluctuations caused brief electrical surges across the panels. His heart raced, but his training and instincts guided him. Good, Lyra said, her voice calm but tinged with excitement. You anticipate movement. That is rare. Ethan focused, weaving the craft skillfully through the debris. Sparks flew as some rocks grazed the hull, but the ship held steady. Leora's eyes were fixed on him, analyzing every decision he made. You are remarkable, she said quietly. Many species would fail here. You adapt. You survive. Ethan exhaled, trying to keep his nerves steady. I guess humans aren't as weak as they seem. Lyra laughed softly. You are more than not weak. You are cunning, resilient, courageous. You handle situations others cannot. As they moved deeper into the anomaly, a sudden tremor shook the craft. A rogue drone, damaged and unstable, surged toward them. Ethan's instincts kicked in. He adjusted the controls, dodging the drone's erratic path. Sparks flew and a warning light blinked red. Quick thinking, Lyra said, her tone approving. You assess and react without hesitation. Humans excel in adaptability. Ethan's mind raced. He spotted an asteroid nearby and an energy conduit that could be activated to divert the drone. With precise timing, he maneuvered the craft, triggering a small energy pulse that sent the drone spinning harmlessly away. Leora's eyes glimmered with admiration. You do not rely solely on technology. You rely on reasoning. That is why we watch you, human. That is why you intrigue us. Ethan felt a surge of pride mixed with exhaustion. He had faced danger before, but never with such intensity and yet such focus on observation. He realized that his human traits, ingenuity, courage, and adaptability, were being tested in ways few humans had ever experienced. Once the drone was neutralized, they continued through the anomaly, encountering more challenges, shifting debris, unstable energy fields, and hidden pockets of radiation. Ethan handled each situation carefully, guided by the sisters but also trusting his instincts. Each success built his confidence. Finally, they reached the core of the anomaly, a massive glowing energy cluster surrounded by floating debris. Lyra gestured toward it. Observe carefully. This is a rare formation. Many beings would never witness it without error. Ethan leaned forward, studying the cluster. The energy pulsed rhythmically, sending waves through the surrounding space. He noticed patterns in the movement of debris, the flow of energy, and the faint distortions in space around it. It's beautiful, he murmured. And dangerous, Leora nodded. Precisely. Recognition and respect for danger. Human qualities you display well. We value them. Suddenly, a burst of energy from the cluster sent a shockwave toward their craft. Ethan acted instinctively, adjusting the shields and thrust, narrowly avoiding a collision. Lyra's eyes widened in admiration. Perfect timing. You remain calm under pressure. Humans have a remarkable instinct for survival. Ethan's hands shook slightly as the adrenaline faded. I didn't expect it to react like that. You adapt, Leora said softly. That is what makes you different. After carefully studying the cluster and recording data, Ethan guided the craft back through the anomaly. The journey back was tense, but his confidence grew with each successful maneuver. When they finally returned to open space, the station's lights twinkled in the distance, welcoming them back. Lyra clapped her hands. Excellent work, human. You have faced danger, uncertainty, and the unknown. You have proven your courage and skill. Few humans would survive what you just did. Leora's calm gaze met his. And yet you did not just survive. You adapted, observed, and acted decisively. That is why we value you. That is why we chose to watch you. Ethan felt a strange warmth. He had always known humans were underestimated across the galaxy. But here were two alien sisters recognizing his strength, his intelligence, and his courage. Their admiration was not for his words, jokes, or charm. It was for his actions, his ability to face the unknown and persevere. Thank you, Ethan said quietly. I didn't know humans could impress beings like you. Lyra's grin widened, mischievous as always. You are full of surprises, human, and we have only begun to see them. Lyra's gaze softened. Your journey has only just begun. There will be more challenges, more tests, and more discoveries. Yet we will be with you, guiding, observing, and protecting when necessary. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and responsibility. He had been joking about being single, expecting nothing to come of it. Now he was part of something larger, something that tested his courage and intellect in ways he had never imagined. As their craft docked back at the station, Ethan realized that his life had changed forever. He had stepped beyond safe corridors and predictable paths. He had faced danger, made split-second decisions, and proven his worth in the eyes of two beings far more advanced than most he had encountered. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. Tomorrow we will begin the next stage. You will face new environments, new challenges. Are you prepared, human? Ethan smiled, a mix of excitement and determination. I think I am. With both of you by my side, I feel ready for anything, Leora nodded. Good. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Remember these qualities. They are what make you remarkable. Ethan looked at the sisters, their expressions a mix of admiration, expectation, and subtle amusement. He knew their fascination with him was far from over. And as he walked through the docking bay, he realized that the galaxy was bigger, stranger, and more thrilling than he had ever imagined. The journey was only beginning. But for the first time, Ethan felt truly capable of facing whatever lay ahead, with courage, wit, and the guidance of Lyra and Leora, the twin alien sisters who had chosen him for reasons he was only beginning to understand. And deep down, he knew that no matter what dangers came next, humans had something the galaxy could not ignore: the ability to adapt, survive, and shine when it mattered most. Ethan returned to his cabin late that evening, exhausted but exhilarated. The events outside the station had pushed him beyond anything he had experienced before. He had faced danger, made split-second decisions, and earned the admiration of Lyra and Leora. Yet even as he lay down on his bed, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenges were only beginning. A soft knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. Ethan? Leora's calm voice called. May we come in? Of course, he said, sitting up. Lyra entered first, her usual playful grin on her face. Leora followed quietly, her expression unreadable but attentive. The sisters moved with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly, and yet there was warmth in their presence. We have something to discuss, Leora said, taking a seat on the edge of the bed. What you accomplished today was impressive, human, but there is more you must understand about our society and why we watch you. Ethan nodded, curiosity mixing with apprehension. I'm listening. Lyra leaned against the wall, her eyes sparkling. In our culture, forming bonds with a human is rare. Humans are resilient, adaptable, and courageous. Qualities our kind respects but seldom finds in abundance. That is why we are invested in you. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Invested in me? You mean because of what I can do? Leora shook her head gently. Not merely what you can do, Ethan. It is also how you do it. Your thoughtfulness, your humor, your ability to remain calm under pressure. These traits are rare. You are not just strong. You are remarkable in ways many beings overlook. Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. It was one thing to be praised for skill. It was another to be valued for character. I didn't know humans could be seen that way. Most species underestimate us. Lyra grinned. They do, but we do not. That is why we are here. That is why we observe, challenge, and guide you. And soon there will be a test that will show how far you are willing to go. Ethan's stomach tightened. A test? Yes, Leora said calmly. You will face a situation where your courage, intelligence, and moral judgment will be tested simultaneously. It is not a game, human. It is real. Ethan swallowed hard. And if I fail? Lyra tilted her head, mischievous yet serious. Then you learn. Humans are exceptional not because they never fail, but because they persevere and adapt. That is what makes your species extraordinary. The next morning, Ethan followed the sisters to a secluded shuttle bay. A sleek black vessel awaited them, smaller than the ships he had seen before but heavily armored and equipped with sensors. This mission will take us to an uncharted sector, Leora explained. It is unstable, and previous explorers have encountered difficulties. Your role will be critical, human. You must make decisions that could determine the success of this mission. Ethan's hands trembled slightly as he climbed aboard. I understand. I'll do my best, Lyra laughed softly. We know you will. That is why we are here. The shuttle lifted off smoothly, leaving the station behind. Space stretched infinitely before them, glittering with distant stars. Ethan studied the navigation panels, feeling a thrill at the responsibility placed upon him. After several minutes, the sensors detected an anomaly, a cluster of drifting debris surrounding a small, unstable asteroid. The energy readings were fluctuating and the sisters' expressions grew serious. This is your challenge, Lyra said. You must retrieve a device from that asteroid. It controls environmental stability for nearby sectors. If it fails, this area could become dangerous. Ethan swallowed. And you expect me to go there alone? Not alone, Lyra corrected. We are with you, but your decisions will guide our actions. Humans excel when responsibility is placed on them. That is why we chose you. Ethan took a deep breath. All right, let's do this. As they approached the asteroid, the shuttle shook with small gravitational anomalies. Ethan adjusted the thrusters, carefully navigating through the floating debris. Sparks flew as some rocks grazed the hull and alarms blared intermittently. His heart raced, but he focused, trusting both his instincts and the sisters' guidance. Lyra's voice was encouraging. Good, you remain calm. You observe and act. That is rare. Ethan maneuvered the shuttle close to the asteroid. A docking bay opened automatically, allowing them to land safely. He stepped out onto the rocky surface, his boots crunching against the strange mineral soil. The device they sought was visible ahead, glowing faintly with energy. Suddenly, a security drone, long abandoned but still functional, activated and surged toward them. Ethan's mind raced. He spotted a series of energy conduits along the asteroid's surface. Using quick thinking, he activated one, creating a diversion that sent the drone spinning harmlessly away. Well done, Leora said calmly. You assessed, adapted, and executed flawlessly. That is why we watch you, human. You are extraordinary. Ethan reached the device and carefully secured it. The moment he did, another alarm sounded. This time the asteroid itself was unstable, shifting unpredictably. Rocks began to crumble beneath their feet and the ground shook violently. Back to the shuttle, Lyra shouted. Ethan sprinted, dodging falling debris and leaping over cracks in the surface. The sisters flanked him, Lyra creating light illusions to guide the path, Leora telepathically nudging him toward safe steps. Together they moved with precision, but the danger was real. At the shuttle, Ethan barely made it inside, slamming the door shut as the asteroid shifted violently. He exhaled, shaking but exhilarated. That was intense, Lyra grinned. You did exactly what we hoped. Humans excel when faced with unpredictability. You think, adapt, and act. That is why we value you, Leora nodded. And you have learned something important today. Strength is not measured solely by power. Courage, intelligence, and adaptability are equally vital. Humans embody all three more than many species realize. Ethan felt a swell of pride. I never thought my kind could impress beings like you. Lyra leaned closer, her voice teasing. You are full of surprises, human, and we have only begun to see them. As they returned to the station, Ethan realized the depth of the sisters' fascination. It was not merely admiration. It was respect, curiosity, and perhaps something deeper. They had chosen to invest their attention in a human because they saw qualities that others ignored. Ingenuity, courage, and the ability to rise to challenges without fear. When the shuttle docked back at Aurora Nexus, Ethan stepped out, his legs unsteady but his mind sharp. The sisters walked beside him, their presence comforting yet commanding. Tomorrow, Leora said softly, you will face another challenge. It will test not just your skill but your judgment, your empathy, and your ability to lead. Are you prepared, human? Ethan smiled, a mixture of excitement and determination. I think I am. I know I'll need both of you by my side. Lyra's eyes sparkled with mischief. We will guide you. But remember, your choices matter. Humans have a rare quality, the ability to change outcomes through thought, courage, and ingenuity. You have already proven this. Do not forget it. As Ethan walked back to his cabin that night, he reflected on the day's events. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, filled with dangers and mysteries, yet he felt more capable than ever, not just because of his own skills, but because he had the guidance, trust, and respect of Lyra and Leora. For the first time in his life, Ethan understood that being human was more than survival. It was about rising to challenges, thinking creatively and proving worth in a universe that often underestimated his species. And deep down, he knew that the twin alien sisters' fascination with him was far from over. Their investment, their guidance, and their challenges had only begun. Tomorrow he would face the next trial. But tonight, as he looked at the stars beyond his cabin window, he felt ready. Not just as a human, but as a force the galaxy could not ignore, a being capable of courage, ingenuity, and adaptability, worthy of attention from the most advanced species. The journey continued, and Ethan knew that with Lyra and Leora by his side, he could face whatever the galaxy had in store. The adventure, the challenges, and the lessons were far from over. And somewhere deep within, he realized that this bond with two alien sisters who had chosen him for reasons beyond his understanding was becoming the most extraordinary part of all. Ethan awoke to a soft glow filtering through his cabin window. Today was different. The sisters had said the final challenge would test everything he had learned: courage, intelligence, and adaptability. But Ethan didn't yet know what awaited him. His heart raced with anticipation, but he also felt a strange calm. He had survived the station, the anomaly, and the unstable asteroid. Whatever came next, he was ready. A soft knock sounded on the door. "Ethan," Lyra's playful voice called. "Coming," he said, quickly standing and straightening his gear. The door hissed open, and Lyra stepped in first, followed by Leora. Their presence was both comforting and commanding, a reminder that whatever awaited him, he would not face it alone. "Today," Leora said softly, "you will lead. You will make decisions that could impact lives. Your skill, judgment, and courage will be tested. Are you prepared, human?" Ethan nodded firmly. "I'm ready." "I'll do my best," Lyra grinned. "That is all we ask. But remember, your instincts, your humanity, and your intelligence will be the keys to success." They made their way to a shuttle that awaited them in the upper docking bay. Unlike the smaller craft used before, this shuttle was larger, designed for a group mission. Yet it had the same sleek lines, advanced systems, and compact layout that made piloting both a challenge and a thrill. As they lifted off, Ethan studied the holographic display. Ahead was a sector recently destabilized by a gravitational anomaly. Reports indicated a research vessel had become trapped with its crew in danger. Ethan swallowed. This was no simulation. Real beings were counting on him. Lyra's eyes sparkled. "This is it, human. Your decisions will matter. Your courage will be tested. Your judgment will determine outcomes. Remember everything you have learned." Ethan nodded, gripping the controls tightly. Understood. The journey to the vessel was tense. The sector was chaotic, with floating debris, shifting gravity, and bursts of energy interfering with navigation systems. Ethan relied on his instincts and experience, weaving the shuttle through obstacles with precision. Lyra monitored external sensors while Leora provided guidance, highlighting potential threats and suggesting safe paths. Finally, the stranded vessel appeared, caught in a gravitational pull from a nearby energy cluster. The crew inside had broadcasted distress signals, their voices filled with urgency and fear. Ethan's heart pounded. "All right," he said, taking a deep breath. "We get them out carefully and quickly." Lyra nodded. "Precisely. Plan first, then act. Humans are exceptional when strategy meets courage." Ethan assessed the situation. The energy cluster created unstable gravitational pockets around the vessel. Any sudden movement could tear it apart. He instructed the sisters to stabilize the shuttle while he guided a tether to the research ship. Using careful calculations, he adjusted the ship's position, gradually locking the tether to the hull. Sparks flew and alarms blared, but Ethan remained focused. "Excellent calculations," Leora said. "You are precise under pressure, human. That is why your species is extraordinary." Ethan smiled faintly. "Thanks. Let's bring them home safely." One by one, the crew of the research vessel transferred to the shuttle. Each human and alien aboard looked exhausted, frightened, but relieved. Ethan felt a deep satisfaction. This was what humans excelled at, rising to challenges and saving lives, no matter the danger. Suddenly, a massive energy surge erupted from the cluster, destabilizing the tether and throwing the shuttle into a spin. Ethan's hands flew across the controls. He adjusted thrust, reversed engines, and stabilized the craft just in time. Lyra's eyes widened in admiration. "Quick thinking." Humans adapt to chaos. That is rare and remarkable. Leora's calm voice added, and yet you remain composed. You assess, you act, you save lives. That is the essence of human courage. The shuttle cleared the energy cluster and Ethan guided them back to stable space. Cheers erupted from the rescued crew. Ethan exhaled, feeling both relief and pride. He had faced danger, uncertainty, and critical decisions, and he had succeeded. As they returned to Aurora Nexus, Lyra and Leora remained silent, observing him with a mixture of admiration and amusement. Ethan felt a subtle shift in their demeanor, as if he had passed an invisible threshold. Once docked, the sisters led him to a quiet observation deck. The station stretched out below, lights twinkling like a constellation of its own. Ethan leaned against the railing, exhausted but exhilarated. "You did more than survive," Leora said softly. "You led, protected, and made choices that mattered. Humans often underestimate themselves, but you have proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability are your greatest strengths." Ethan shook his head in disbelief. "I never thought my kind could impress beings like you." "I just try to do my best," Lyra grinned. "And your best is extraordinary. You have shown qualities that many species lack. Quick thinking, bravery, empathy, and resilience. You are remarkable, Ethan, truly remarkable." Ethan felt a warmth he had never known. The sisters' admiration was genuine, rooted in respect for his abilities and character. He realized that his journey had not only been about challenges, but also about earning their trust and recognition. "Now," Leora continued, "you understand why we chose to watch you, and why we cannot let you go. Humans are rare, and you embody what makes your species exceptional. You have proven that courage, intelligence, and ingenuity are universal forces." Ethan laughed softly, a mix of relief and amusement. "So, I'm officially part of this adventure then?" Lyra winked. "Yes, human. And this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, full of challenges and mysteries, but now, you have shown that you are more than capable of rising to them." Ethan looked out at the stars, feeling a profound sense of purpose. He had started this journey as a visitor, a human joking about being single. Now he was a force the galaxy could not ignore, valued and respected by beings far more advanced than most he had known. The sisters flanked him, their presence a reminder that he was not alone. He had been challenged, tested, and pushed to the limits, and he had prevailed. Humanity, he realized, was capable of extraordinary feats when courage, intelligence, and adaptability were applied. As the observation deck filled with the soft glow of starlight, Ethan made a silent promise to himself. He would continue to rise to every challenge, protect those who could not protect themselves, and prove that humans were more than just survivors. They were a force the galaxy could not ignore. Lyra stepped closer, her playful grin softened by genuine warmth. "You have exceeded expectations, Ethan. Few humans could have done what you have, and yet, we sense that your greatest achievements are still ahead." Leora's calm voice added, "Your journey is not just about survival or skill. It is about understanding, leadership, and the courage to face the unknown. Humans excel in this because they combine instinct, reasoning, and heart. That is why you are extraordinary." Ethan felt a deep sense of connection, not just to the sisters, but to the universe itself. He had faced dangers, made decisions that mattered, and proven the unique strength of his species. For the first time, he felt that he truly belonged, not because he had changed, but because the galaxy had recognized his worth. As the stars stretched endlessly before him, Ethan knew that the adventure was far from over. New challenges, new discoveries, and new bonds awaited him. But he was ready, armed with courage, intelligence, adaptability, and the guidance of Lyra and Leora. And somewhere deep inside, he realized that this bond, with two extraordinary alien sisters who had chosen him, was one of the greatest discoveries of all. Humanity had been underestimated, but Ethan had shown that even a single human could rise to meet the impossible and succeed beyond expectation. The galaxy was vast, mysterious and dangerous, but Ethan no longer feared it. He had proven that humans, with their courage, ingenuity, and heart, could face any challenge. And with Lyra and Leora by his side, there was no obstacle he could not overcome. For the first time, Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of pride and belonging. He had started this journey as a human who joked about being single. Now, he was a hero in his own right. a symbol of humanity's potential in a universe that had often underestimated it. The twin sisters looked at him, their expressions a mixture of pride, admiration, and something deeper, an acknowledgement that humans were far more remarkable than the galaxy had ever imagined. Ethan knew, without a doubt, that this was only the beginning. The universe awaited, full of mysteries, challenges, and adventures, and he would face them all, not alone but with courage, intelligence, adaptability, and the guidance of Lyra and Leora. The stars outside glimmered like promises of endless possibilities, and Ethan for the first time felt ready to embrace them all.